locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks!
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke loves wrestling.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Folks, welcome to a special edition of the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. And I tell you right now, I'm just over the moon about this because today we have two of the most recognizable, the most famous, the most beloved pro wrestling fans in known history. It's still real to me, damn it, guy, Dave Wills and Roy Lucier. I mean, this has been a request that has been going on for years. You folks have asked for it. You've been on Twitter. You did a little campaign about it. And the guys reached out to me, and they said, Duke, let's make this happen. So here we are. Without further ado, welcome to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, or rather, welcome back, Roy Lucier. How you doing, brother?
I can't complain at all. I'm enjoying the what's starting to be a little bit hotter weather up here in the Sacramento area, but I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain at all.
And welcome back. It's still real to me, damn it, guy, Dave Wills. How are you doing there, Dave?
I'm doing fantastic. My friend, it's great to meet Roy Lucier. This is great.
Same here in vice versa. It's finally good to, after all these decades, to finally get to, talk to Dave firsthand.
Roy, do you remember the first time you were made aware of Dave Wills? Describe that moment there and even some of your impressions through the years.
Pretty much, obviously, I think the first thing would be just some random YouTube video or something on social media with someone in the crowd just sitting there. And, I don't know if I had the audio up all the way. In fact, I had to rewind it again because I couldn't figure out why so many people were sharing it. Finally got the audio up and I heard it's still real to me, damn it. And, it just, you felt the emotion and the passion there, and it's you know what, that guy right there, that's exactly the type of emotion that I, want fans to feel when they go to shows, and that's the poster kid right there. That's perfect. That's the same emotion. I got this photo of the Cow Palace from late 2017 or 18, I think it is, and you could see the incomplete right side, people in the getting up and cheering and giving it some and me being one of the three. And it's we need more fans that cheer the good guys, boo the bad guys, and are into every angle and storyline and stuff like that, and so don't sit there and try to microanalyze it. That's the stuff that just, it gets to me. When did we become this we gotta go behind the scenes and try to figure everything out and get in Vince's head or whoever the promoter is? Can't we just enjoy it without having to overthink it? That's one thing I love about Dave. He just enjoys it.
I totally agree. I mean, we all see stuff we like, all see stuff we don't like, and I get that, okay? But, I mean, it's great to just go in there and look at it as a fan and enjoy it, okay? That's the fantastic part of the whole situation. And a lot of people overthink it. But, I mean, hey, it's wrestling. The guys are out there busting their butts. They're busting their tails. It's a wonderful thing. That's fantastic. And that's what I like.
One thing that, gets to me, and I get if you're short on time and you just want to watch one match from a show or maybe two or something like that. Oh, what was recommended? Oh, this is the best match on the show, but avoid all the rest of these matches. You know what? It's a Friday night. I got, 5 hours before I go to sleep. I'm turning on the entire show and watching it from beginning to end because I want to give everybody that is out there that respect. I want to enjoy it, watch the character build up, see what they did. Maybe right or wrong, but I still want to enjoy everything out there. I'm not into this best of or let's watch this one good match. I still love from the opening bell to the end of the show. That's what I love about these events, especially, going to live events. It's just that atmosphere, whether I've been at a show with Thunder Rosa on it and 8 people were there, and it wasn't because Thunder Rosa was on it. It was just poorly promoted. And I've been to shows with tens of thousands of people, and it's just I love the atmosphere of a live show, the entire thing,
Dave, because you're so beloved with this, it's still real to me, damn it stuff. A lot of promotions, especially as of late, they like to make sure that they get a shot of you in the crowd, so to speak. Talk about your live show experience and piggyback on some of the things that Roy was talking about, which he's so passionate about when it comes to the live experience.
Oh, I've enjoyed shows as far as it goes. The live experience, there ain't nothing like it, okay? It's fantastic to get to meet the guys. I mean, these guys are out there busting their butt for everybody. They're out there going out and doing all kind of good stuff. On a lot of independent shows, they don't get paid as very much money. And I'm glad to see more people are getting paid and more people are getting paid good wages, you know. But it's just phenomenal to see exactly what's going on and to see that, you know, fans are seeming to enjoy more and seem to enjoy it even more wonderful. They seem to enjoy the wonderful action more than they have previously. And it's just great that, you know, people like and people that are like wonderful and fantastic and, you know, just be around it. That's wonderful.
Sure. Dave, we've spoken about your fandom, you know, exclusively. You've been on the show numerous times, and we've dug into those aspects there. And I can recall you and I talking about the super fan, Roy Lucier, and this incredible stack of matches and hard-to-find whole shows and things of that nature on his network and what have you. If you could ask Roy any questions about some of his hard-to-find and his rare matches that he has in his collection, what would be some of the questions you'd ask him?
Yes. Hey, what is your prized film that you got, Roy? What are you really proud of?
You know what? About a year or so ago, I ended up getting my hands on some like early 70s Cow Palace footage. It was like 8mm. It was filmed by like a friend of Pat Patterson, and none of that stuff was anywhere out on the internet. So when I came across that from a wrestling lawyer in Southern California who had the VHS tape of it, and I got it converted, I think that one, because when I posted it, I mean, Meltzer shared it and tagged The Rock on it and said, hey, both your dad and grandpa are on here. You might want to take a look at this. So that's probably what jumps out first to me as far as like rare footage. Probably that first. A lot of like low grade Mexican TV shows that I personally recorded off the satellite dish, the UWA TV shows from 1992. It was like the last tour that Andre the Giant did. Where he's like in the ring with like Yokozuna back when he was Coquina, Black Scorpio, who's now Too Cold Scorpio, Bam Bam Bigelow. A lot of that stuff was because I had a satellite dish in the 90s. Well, it was my dad's satellite dish, and I was recording all that stuff, and I started tape trading with people and got that out there and, you know, converted it myself. So awesome. A lot of that are the CMLL Guadalajara TV shows, which to this date, I don't know anyone else that ever had that stuff. Just randomly flipping through the satellite dish and found that one night and started recording it every week for about 4 months. Just the stuff like that. I mean, you know, WWE has a lock on all the stuff that they own and all the promotions and all that. So that's why, you know, a lot of people ask me for like certain episodes of Superstars or looking for whatever. And it's like, to be honest with you, it's like I don't even want to bother putting it out because I don't want to deal with the copyright issues or the stuff that the WWE might say or do. I just rather deal with the other promotions, which no longer exist. You know, some of that 5-star wrestling stuff where Terry Gordy was the champion back in Alabama. Yeah, like stuff like that. You know, I love sharing that. Or that promotion that Billy Jack Haynes ran up in Portland in the late 80s where he had like...
Absolutely. They had like, what was it? They had Shockmaster Fred Ottman in there and Superstar Bubba.
Yeah, he was like, I forgot, yeah, it was called Bubba. And they had Johnny
Hercules
A.
Haggerty, maybe? Hercules Haggerty and...
Hercules Haggerty. Yep. You know, and... you know, that kind of stuff, just these obscure, or I know I shared it online, but I found some promotion in Australia from '99 where I think it was called High Risk Championship Wrestling, and the main event was Nails versus Primo Carnera III. I mean, that's the stuff that really sticks out to me in my collection that I am really proud of. And I'll let everyone know this. I let Duke know this, and I'm sure I'll post it by Twitter by the time this goes up. But I just came across the entire first year of AAA, the Mexican company, from 1992, right when they first were created. So I'm going to start putting that up later today. So that, you know, things like that. You know, I was around firsthand, watching it on TV, and then I was there live at all the shows at the sports arena. So that's a promotion that I'm very, very passionate about. And, you know, it's real to me, damn it moment. You know, you think sometimes like you're glad that was caught on camera and stuff. In '93, I had this moment where I was at the LA Sports Arena before the show started, and I was running around the building with a sign that said 100% Rudos on it. And apparently it was pissing off all the Mexican fans. And they started throwing like dirty diapers, cups of piss, hot dog nachos, to the point where the LAPD had to come and get me out of there because fans were starting to riot. So, you know,
nice.
Yeah.
I was at a taping in Cobb County Civic Center one time. There was a taping. It was a house show. And they had Smoky Mountain Wrestling. They had the Gangsters over there. And I had some fans of mine some friends of mine who were around. And we were hanging in there, and we were the heel fans back then. The Gangsters were in the ring and all. And they were doing, I think, facing rock and roll. So what we did was we got out there and started, you know, cheering, you know, for the Gangsters. Well, what I did was I put a coat on, put some black shoes on, put a bandana on, and was up there, you know, holding the X symbol. And everybody's like, boo, boo, boo. Well, then along the way, we're having it and cheering for them, booing the rock and roll. All this other great stuff. And then all of a sudden, I think my buddy, I think his name was Dave. I hadn't seen him in forever. He tore up one of Tracy Smothers' gimmick Confederate flags he was selling, which prompted some woman to go, I'll cut you. And she started doing all this stuff and everything and chased him like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? We're going to be in the middle of a redneck riot around here, you know. And I look around, I'm like, what can we do? Oh, doggone, that looks like D'Lo Brown. I hide behind him and hold up my X where, yeah, I'm absolutely still being a heel, but I'm hiding from the redneck right there, from the fans, you know. So thankfully they got him out of the building, and then I went ahead and got out of there. But it was kind of interesting, so that was fun. It was a great,
hey, Duke,
great atmosphere.
You know what we need to do is replace that one video of like when the Nation comes out and you got that little white kid with the glasses. We need to do that with Dave.
With Dave and
Hey, you know Mustafa lives up here in Sacramento, so he works a lot of shows around here. So he's always telling me when I do see him about, you know, some of the heat that they would got, and you know they would go to a lot of areas, I guess, where some people had never seen black people before. So they definitely got some heat and then some. And
Sure.
I remember one time New Jack did this interview where he went on TV, and this was the week after the OJ thing, after when the wife and Ron Goldman got murdered. And New Jack goes on TV and goes, he wants to throw a shout out to New Jack for getting rid of two of them. You know, white people.
You know, and something like that could never play today, right? Can you imagine that airing today? What would happen?
That's and to think about it, we were alive for that. That was not that long ago. Man, if movies and theater are allowed to have people playing roles and drawing that type of emotion, I personally don't see why wrestling or wrestlers that are playing characters can't go to that extreme or that level sometimes. I wish that was like, quote unquote, allowed, or people would take those kind of risks to do it. I mean, you got a very light version of Dutch Mantel doing it when he was managing Del Rio, doing the or Swagger and doing what the gimmick that he was doing, but that was light compared to what he could have done. But from what I heard, they really had to keep it light because they didn't want to draw trouble or X, Y, and Z. And it's like, you're playing a role. You have to garnish emotion. But
Absolutely.
I guess it's, yeah, the problem is nowadays, people, instead of hating the character, they want to hate the promotion and, quote unquote, go after the sponsors. So that's, that to me, that's a problem. And, that's a lot. I wish that would change and people would realize they're characters playing characters,
I don't disagree with you one bit, because like you said, when you look at TV shows, you look at movies, I don't look at Al Pacino, the man, and say, oh, God, look at that. There goes Scarface, or there goes Michael Corleone. How many people he's killed. I better watch out, So it's pro wrestling definitely gets an interesting amount of criticism for the things that they do when, the cat's already out of bag. We know it's a work. So the question is, where is the line drawn, and why can't we cross that line? So
yeah.
It's a good question. It's a good food for thought. In fact, we'll throw it out there to folks who are listening. Jump online and I'll put up a post about this specifically, and we'll take this portion of the show and let's have an expanded conversation on this. Do you feel pro wrestling has gone too far PG, and would you like to see it mirror more of what you see in other episodic TV shows and movies? I mean, that would be interesting to see what the general appetite of the greater fans are on that.
Yeah, I mean, like, what was the DiCaprio movie, Django Unchained? DiCaprio himself didn't get heat for playing a character, and it's like when you got Ricochet's not his real name, he's playing a character. If he were to go out there to do something like, racy or, borderline, goes against today's society, he's going to end up getting heat, not the character, or the promotion's going to end up getting heat. And that's kind of one thing that, I wish would turn back around, or at least have a promotion out there that caters to the fan that's looking for those type of angles, or is willing to risk those type of storylines and, see what happens from the heat from it. And if you get a handful of fans online, just blow them to the side and see where your ticket sales are, instead of garnishing social media attention and catering to those few fans that are upset about it. The ultimate bottom line, TV ratings or ticket sales, how did those do based off of the angle that you just ran? That should be the ultimate line to see if it was successful or not.
That's definitely good stuff, and it definitely provokes a lot of thought, and further conversation should be had on that. And it's crazy because you brought up the internet, and you brought up some of these fans, and we know that the pro wrestling fan base is so diverse, not just in terms of the people themselves, but their ideas and their feelings and their thoughts. Dave, the internet has taken pro wrestling fandom to another level, where any Johnny so-and-so with a computer can pretend to be somebody that matters, and whether they're tweeting or Facebooking or what have you, they put out things and raise hell and what have you. Your "It's Still Real to Me, Damn It" moment has been turned into a GIF and a meme, and it's something that I see posted every single solitary day. to the point where I started tagging you every time I see it now because it literally, I see it everywhere to this day. Talk to us about that. How has the internet affected your fandom on a personal level? And, you know, just like what Roy was talking about from a general standpoint as well, what do you think about specifically the internet wrestling fan?
Well, internet wrestling, it just depends. Internet wrestling's wonderful. It's fantastic. Okay, the fans are fantastic. A lot of people are very, very, very motivated, very enjoyable. They've enjoyed the product a lot, but at the same time, you got to enjoy it. A lot of people watch stuff to hate it. I don't get that. They watch stuff just to comment and despise and, you know, critique. I'm sorry. Everybody can screw up. You know, if you miss something, that's one thing. But, I mean, what's the deal here? Watch what you like. If you don't watch it, that's okay. If you do watch it, that's great. But, I mean, you know, don't just watch to hate.
Do you feel you're treated fairly online, Dave?
Do I feel being treated fairly? I don't see a point of it that I am being unfairly, that I'm being treated unfairly. I mean, here's the deal, okay? At the end of the day, I'm not being, you know, they can say what they want, okay? I get that. My self-esteem is determined by my self-worth, okay? My self-esteem is determined by what I do. I don't worry about what people I don't know think about me. That's just ridiculous right there. That's silly. I mean, it's ridiculous, you know. And as far as it goes, people can have their opinions about me. Some people don't like me, some people ain't. So what? I mean, I'm a grown-up. I'm 45 years old. I hate to say it, but like I care. I mean, I got friends, family, other people, work that does that, okay? And it's good stuff.
Well said.
You know.
Well said. Hey,
To
Roy,
expunge on that, you know, someone the other day I saw online trying to poke Dave and make a comment like he seems the type of fan that lives in his mother's basement or whatever. I saw Dave shoot back and say, you know what, my house is paid for. I own my car outright. You know, don't even go there with me because I ain't that loser that you're trying to portray. So, no, I really appreciate Dave saying that on the behalf of all of us that love and adore wrestling. And so what if you lived in your mom's basement? That's you know,
exactly.
I own my place. Dave owns, you know, just because you have this portrayal or perception about certain fans, can we stop with the whole living in the mom's basement or whatever buzzword that you've been hearing or vanilla midget or whatever else you want to come up with for the last few years? You know, Dave shot them down, and I just wanted to say, you know, publicly, thank you for saying that from the rest of us.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. And, hey, you know, at the end of the day, we all do and everything. We all have opinions. You know, and, you know, it's good stuff. You know, I really have, you know, enjoyed meeting people. Some people have been cool, some people haven't been. But, you know, some people are good, some people aren't. It's just the way it goes.
For sure. For sure. And, you know, it's crazy because, like you said, you can't allow how these folks view you to dictate how you feel about yourself or whether or not you're going to have a good day or a bad day, because some of these folks just are miserable in their own lives and they want to spread that misery. And when they see someone who genuinely feels good, it's almost as if it makes them upset because for whatever reason they can't feel that at the moment or they're not feeling that at the moment. So rather than try to reach out to you and say, hey, you know, Dave, hey, Roy, what's going on that's making you feel so good? You know, let me get some of that. Show me that match or tell me about that experience. They'd rather take shots and try to bring you down to their level. And you know, it's just not worth it. I'll tell you one thing that is worth it, though, and it's something that I see from the two of you, which I really admire, and we'll start with Roy on this one. Pro wrestlers seek you out, and they genuinely want to talk to you and check out the matches that you have in your collection. You know, they put out requests for you to find things in their career for them. Talk to us about some of these experiences with the wrestlers, because at the end of the day, you're just a fan. And somehow, some way, you've managed to position yourself where you literally are a go-to person for wrestlers, and they respect you and appreciate you. Talk to us about that, Roy.
Okay, so I got a really close friend who his contract's about to come up, so I'm not going to say his name, but he don't worry, at some point his name may be revived, if you catch my drift. But he often reaches out to me in regards to, like, he's looking for certain matches to help him and his partner, like, learn and study and stuff like that. So luckily, I've met a lot of people. A lot of the photos that I get, luckily, I've been, either lucky enough to get backstage, or I mean, either picking the people up at the airport as well and taking them to the show, or taking them to the airport afterwards. Like recently, Brian Pillman Jr. got booked out here, and him and I have, gotten to be pretty, chummy. He was working a show with Liger up in, I think, Seattle for Matt Farmer for Defy last summer. And he hit me up beforehand. He's all like, I've seen a lot of stuff with my dad and him, but I need to expand it because I don't want to sit here and have it to be Liger Pillman 2, which is a repeat of everything my dad did. So I ended up getting the kid like a 30-disc best of collection of Liger matches for him to study from and stuff like that. And if you watch the moments that he had in there with the ring, I think it was a 6-man match. It wasn't a singles match that they had. It was completely different from every Liger Pillman match he saw, because he wanted to do something completely different, and make his own name instead of, living off his dad's legacy, but obviously honoring his dad's legacy by being in the ring with someone like Liger.
Sure.
Yeah, and a lot of the, I've been really close to Harry Boy Smith Jr. for a while now, which has led to me getting to know TJ, his cousin Tyson Kidd, pretty good, which led me to getting to know Natalia pretty good. Met her a few times now. It's a great feeling, and it's a good feeling to, wake up and see a text message from Cassius Ohno saying, hey, look what I just got in the mail, and sharing something from his memorabilia with me. And, it's a great feeling. And this really is a great brotherhood and sisterhood. There's a lot of great people out there. There's a lot of wonderful people out there. And, I know we got the occasional story that's tabloid-ish and stuff like that. But, I want to say that 99% of the people that I've met in this business are great, kind people from the heart who love this business and love, being around the boys and the ladies, and, just want to make the world a better place.
Dave, you've expressed similar sentiments about, some of the wrestlers you've been fortunate enough to get to know on a personal level. Talk to us about that, because you by far are the most famous wrestling fan probably in history. I mean, literally everybody knows who you are. And I have never, in my life, I've never online seen a wrestler mention you and say something negative about you.
Oh, no, that might be different. You never can tell.
But talk to us about that. Talk to us about some of your experiences on a personal level there.
Personal level, pretty much everybody's been great. I mean, most people are very respectful. I try to be respectful back. I don't take public beefs. I don't take public beefs out there and stuff like that. I just think that, hey, there's too much good out there to hate. You got to enjoy what you watch. You got to enjoy it. And that's pretty much where I'm at, I mean, I think it's been a great time. as far as wrestling. And I appreciate all the wrestlers. I appreciate their sacrifice, what they do to their bodies. I think they should be able to go out there. I have no problem thinking they should have a union. I think that's what I wouldn't see. I'd like to see profit sharing, health insurance, stuff like that. But it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and that's the ugly side of.
They should be able to join SAG.
Sure. And that's the ugly side of this. And I know you guys personally have seen it yourselves through your relationships with different wrestlers, folks that we watched growing up. And some of these folks are not in the best situations now because maybe they didn't manage their money and that wasn't a focus back when, they were running wild in the 70s and the 80s and maybe even the early 90s. So the whole concept of a union or some kind of retirement, something that can allow the wrestlers to have something to look forward to on the back end, or if, God forbid, if they have a career-ending injury, what do they do next? It would be nice to see things like that more in place for them. In fact, I know, Roy, you in particular, with your work with the Cauliflower Alley Club, talk to us about that and just the club itself and some of the things that they do for wrestlers who are in tough situations.
Okay, so Cauliflower Alley Club is a nonprofit organization. I believe it's 501c3 is the exact term. There's annual dues every year, or you can become a lifetime member. I think annual dues is $25, lifetime is $300. The money goes into a benevolent fund. And what happens is if a wrestler has been in the business at least 3 years, is down on their luck when it comes to medical bills, rent, a situation that requires a little assistance, they fill out a benevolent fund request. I personally seen this happen even in the past couple days where because of HIPAA, I really can't go into detail about it, but sure. Let's just say a wrestler is dealing with a severe health issue. They provide the information as far as the doctor, the amount the bill is, what the problem is. And once the problem is proven, the CAC cuts a check to the doctor, to the landlord, to the utility company, to whatever is needed in order to take care of that need for the wrestler. For example, there's a few wrestlers that have been very vocal about things that we've done. Orndorff and Kamala, for example, have both allowed us to share their stories. Both of them were looking at eviction as far as their home. Cauliflower Alley stepped in, and I believe Orndorff had Jericho help as well. And not only were their homes saved because of their age, they don't have to pay taxes on the property taxes on the home anymore. So they basically can live there as long as they live. So I'm really happy to be a part of this organization. Brian Blair's been a very, very close friend for the past couple of years. Been about a little over a year that I've been doing this now. I run all their social media as far as their Facebook, their Twitter, their Instagram. If a wrestler passes away, such as, I get a phone call from an emotional Brian Blair, who's letting me know I just got off the phone with Rocky Johnson's wife. Rocky just passed away a bit ago. I'll go online and break the news to the world, or, once I get stuff verified, I go on and break the news on the Cauliflower Alley pages, or announce upcoming events with the CAC, or guests that will be honored there, or things having to do with the convention, or just put little silly things up and stuff like that. And it's an honor to do that and to be connected with a really, really good organization that I believe is doing it from the heart, that cares about the boys and the ladies, and is there whenever, something is needed. And I know we live in a time where there could be scrupulous people. I've seen a couple benevolent requests come in that were, just couldn't be proven and things like that. And you're going to have people like that out there, and that's fine. But there are people out there that legitimately need it. Yeah. So, it's great. It really is good to be a part of this organization, and something I definitely will be a part of for a very long time. And if anyone out there owes taxes, one thing, too, is if you get any kind of memberships or you have any expenses when it comes to Cauliflower Alley, like if you've come out to the event or buy a ticket or whatever, all that stuff could be written off on your taxes, which I'm just learning about now. So, I go back, get my airfare, get my ticket, my hotel, and all that stuff could be written off because it is a nonprofit organization, and it's a really, really good organization to be a part of. And I urge everyone, reach out to me personally if you have any questions about it. We have a reunion in 2 months. We're going to be honoring
great organization.
Medusa. Yeah. We're going to be honoring Medusa, Rey Mysterio, the Road Warriors, quite a few. Jazz with the Women's Award, Brian Pillman Jr. and Madison Miles for the Rising Star Awards. It really is a great organization. I can't say enough good things about it.
Roy, you said that folks could reach out to you personally. What's the best way to do that? Plug the social media and what have you on the heels of what you just said there.
My Twitter is probably my best way. I have it open, so people are welcome to send me messages anytime. I don't shut it to the public. My Twitter is going to be under my real name, Roy Lucier. So squiggly sign, whatever it is, ROYLUCIER. Feel free. There's a profile picture with me with Psycho Clown and Mascara in Las Vegas. So I think there's 3 Roy Luciers on there. I'm the one that's got all the wrestling stuff on there.
You sure are. And Dave, I know for a fact that, when I tell people, oh, thanks for sharing that GIF or that meme, that's Dave Wills. He's the actual It's Still Real to Me, damn it, guy. When I share that, when I tell people that, they actually do check you out and what have you. So plug your social media. What's the best way that folks can reach out to you and follow you and your wild adventure?
Still Real Dave at Still Real Dave on Twitter. At Still Real Dave. Who knows? I'll have a conversation with anybody. Hey, I enjoy it. I like to follow fans. It's great to hear good things.
And listen, I'll tell you right now, Dave will definitely have a conversation with anybody, including some of the trolls out there, and he'll find a very positive way to address them, which is pretty hilarious to see how the stuff you come up with, Dave, when when you're striking back at some of these trolls. It's just funny. Listen, but before I let you guys go, and Dave, I want to start with you. What's some advice? What's something that you can share with some of the fans out there, especially the younger fans, people who realize that maybe they aren't going to be pro wrestlers personally for whatever reason? Maybe their path is going in a different direction. They're going to do sales. They're going to be a doctor. They're going to be the next president of the United States. Who knows? But they love the business, and they're passionate about the business, and they want to support and encourage and bring positivity to the business the way that Dave Wills and Roy Lucier have done through all these decades here. What's some advice you can give to them, Dave, just from a fan's perspective in general?
You got to go ahead and keep yourself in perspective. You got to go ahead and realize that at the end of the day, social media, all that stuff, that don't mean anything. It matters who you are deep down. Stay true to yourself. Make sure that you're doing good. Make sure that you're, doing good stuff. And that's okay. And, you just got to keep on being positive, Don't let the haters get to you. At the end of the day, it's somebody behind a computer. Who cares? As long as your family, your friends, etc., take care of you, hey, that's what matters. As long as you take care of them, that's what matters.
Roy, how about yourself? What's some advice that you can give to fans, especially the younger fans out there?
Dave kind of hit on this earlier. I'll expand on it a little bit. Watch what you love. Enjoy what you like. Share what you love. If you watch something and you're not a fan of it, why waste the energy in sitting there and pointing out? I even like something as ridiculous as probably a couple months ago, what was it? The Dark Order punches on Dustin Rhodes, like in on AEW and stuff like that. I mean, I know we got a little laugh and ha-ha out of it and stuff like that, but it's like, just enjoy what you like and promote it. And you don't need to watch every little single promotion out there. Although, get into it, watch it at least once or twice. Maybe something that you gauge when you watch it and you stick with it. Like, I've been watching – oh, and another thing, too. If something is in a language you don't understand, don't automatically shut it off, because you may miss out on some of the best stuff that you've ever seen in your life. I didn't start speaking Spanish until the late 90s, and I watched Mexican wrestling from the late 80s to now, and I didn't understand it for a very long time. And I still love the hell out of it. Same with Japanese wrestling. I didn't shut it off. Like, it never let that be a barrier to you enjoying a product, is that you don't understand the language. Because a lot of times when I watch AAA's broadcast on Saturday nights, that they do like Rey de Reyes or Triple Mania or whatever, I'll do the Spanish commentary over the English commentary, just because I think that there's more emotion and passion with those announcers than there is with the ones that speak English. So, you know, that is universal, is the emotion and the passion from the announcers. So that could really be a help, is, you know, watching it and not letting the language be a barrier to you enjoying a product. So that would probably be my biggest advice, is just watch what you like and enjoy what you love and share the hell out of it. And if you don't like something, you know, Duke, I know you and I have talked, there's quite a few mainstream promotions out there that I'm not a fan of, but I'm not going to sit here and be one of those people, old man yelling at the cloud, that every single moment has to make my dislike for the promotions public and just be a negative Nancy and old man yelling at cloud. You know what? It just wasn't for me. I moved on, and I found stuff that I like and that I watch religiously.
How's that for a great conversation? I mean, seriously, you're talking about two of the most respected, beloved wrestling fans in the known history of the sport, coming together and having a conversation. They did it here on the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. So I thank Roy Lucier, the super fan, and also It's Still Real to Me, Damnit guy, Dave Wills. I thank both of those guys. Just two good friends of mine and two people that I just have a tremendous amount of respect for, which, you know, people in the wrestling industry and beyond have a lot of respect for. It's cool when you find people who can be themselves unapologetically and actually give a damn about something. It's just cool to see. I love it. And we all have those moments. I mean, okay, let's say pro wrestling isn't your thing. Well, it could be boxing. It could be MMA. It could be football, basketball. It could be reality TV shows. It could be anything, right? Politics. We all have our things that make us fans, and we get wrapped up into it, and we get passionate about it. And it's okay. Don't take yourself too seriously, folks. It's okay to be passionate about something. That's for sure. Listen, welcome back to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast. Great conversation with two super fans. You know, this is a special here. Just talking to some great folks, having a good time, right? And in fact, we're going to keep that ball rolling, because in a minute, I'm going to talk to my man Reed. That's right, the boxing analyst, combat sports analyst, the man who I reach out to break down all the big fights outside of the wrestling world. We're going to be talking about the Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder fight. But before I get to that, I got to give a shout out to my folks over at Navita's Organics. Oh my goodness. Folks, I had the most delicious coffee the other day, and it's because I kicked it up a notch with my Navita's Organics, and it was just fantastic. You know, I keep telling you folks about this stuff. You really got to try it out sometime. Listen to this. I got myself a caramel coffee cake flavored coffee. Made it at home, right? Got myself some vanilla oat milk. And then I mixed in some of that Navitas cacao to give it a little chocolate, little chocolate flavor in there as well. Blended that sucker up, poured it over ice, and just sat back and enjoyed myself. And it gave me a great pick-me-up. It was just, love it. Love it. Anybody who makes coffee at home, you know how difficult it is to tweak it and get it to a point where it actually is to your liking, right? It's like a science experiment. You just got to keep messing around with it. But there are just certain products that I find that when I add it to my coffee that I make at home, it just kicks it up a notch. And sometimes I put it in the store-bought coffee too, or the coffee shop coffee, because it's just that damn good. So, if you check out my instant messenger, my Instagram, you check out my Twitter, you'll see I put that stuff up there. Shout out to the Coffee Core. We post every day about whatever coffee we're drinking. We definitely love our daily pick-me-up in the form of our caffeinated drinks, that's for sure. But, yeah, man, Navitas Organics Cacao. You need some chocolate in your life. It's healthy, organic, good stuff. Check it out. That's right. Okay, I'm not going to belabor the point anymore. Here we go. My man, Reed.
So, folks, you saw this past weekend, we literally had the highest grossing heavyweight boxing match of at least the past 5, possibly even 10 years. Deontay Wilder took on Tyson Fury. And this was the second time that these guys had squared off with each other. And much like the first time, it was a controversial finish, but unlike the first time, it was a hell of a lot more decisive, that's for sure. So, as always, I got to reach out to literally one of the most well-respected, most well-knowledgeable, and one of the coolest boxing analysts on the planet today, a guy who knows his stuff inside and out. So, hey, without further ado, welcome back to the Duke Loves Wrestling podcast, the man, Reed. What's going on, bro?
Brother Duke, my man. Now, before we get started, knowledgeable and respected, I don't know about that, but I am unequivocally the coolest boxing dude the coolest person, period, on the planet. But I digress.
Hey, I don't know too many people who are going to deny that. It is what it is,
And I have a title belt, and I wish this was an audio thing, but it's not, so, y'all just got to trust me on that.
That's right. And now, do you carry it around like Drake did? You saw Drake. He was carrying around 2 WWE championships at the Raptors game because they won the championship last year.
When I first won it many years ago, I did, but yeah, I'm to the point now. It's just instant trophy. It's undisputed. So yeah,
there it is.
It is what it is.
If you walk around with the belt, somebody might challenge you for it. So you got to be careful
right.
with that.
Exactly.
That's it. So listen, Reed. I stayed up Saturday nights. It's getting tougher. The older you get, it's tough, man, because it doesn't matter what pay-per-view you're watching. It's after midnight before you really get a chance to see the main event kick off. And that's a struggle after a long week, man. But, I stayed up, I had my coffee and, a couple of adult beverages and my snacks. And I'm like, okay, we're going to settle in. We're going to see what's up here. And, man, that match, I didn't know what to do with it. So I'm going to shut up and let you break it down. But what the hell happened during that Wilder and Tyson Fury match? What the hell happened?
Well, let's go A to Z. So first of all, moving forward, this is free smoke, as they call it, free game. You need to get a midday nap, Brother Duke. That's the key. That's the key. You're getting up there. I don't want to reveal your age. Damn sure don't want you to reveal mine. If you know you're going to be up late, you know that adult beverages will be involved. Just take a little nap, middle of the day, 2.5, 3 hours, maybe 4, who knows. But anyway, so I was fully charged and refreshed, excited, energized, and then the fight starts, and Tyson Fury, almost to the letter of every word he uttered pre-fight, he said, "I'm going to walk out there, I'm going to press the issue. I'm going to knock him out in 2 rounds. He said this to every person who interviewed him. He said this to Wilder's face every time, every press conference, and every little stare down they had. 2 rounds. Like, whatever, dude. I mean, I know he's a big dude. Like, any heavyweight can knock you out. But if you saw the first fight, you know, Fury's more of a finesse guy. Moving, and he's exceptionally athletic for a guy with a dad bod, 6'9", pipe cleaner calves. He's very mobile. Head, like he calls himself heavyweight Floyd, and that's really the best way to equate him. Anyone who's seen Floyd Mayweather fight, imagine a 6'9" doughy guy, you know, fighting that way, 273 pounds, and that's Tyson Fury. And he did it eloquently. But against Wilder, he pressed the issue, walks him down, he immediately forced Wilder backwards. In the 3rd round, he clipped him. The punch he hit him with, now, it was behind the head, but here's the thing about it. When you fired the legal areas of the head shot to the side, it's temple, ear, and slightly behind the ear. However, natural reaction, someone throws a punch at you, you're going to duck out of the way of it. So Wilder sees the right hand coming towards him. He ducks out of the way of it. Well, Fury's already fired the punch. It's not like Fury aimed for the back of Wilder's head. It's the fact he already fired the punch. Wilder reacted to it. He got hit in the back of the head, ear area, and he got dropped with it. And that punch right there, that one punch pretty much decided the fight. In the moment, it looked like Wilder's eardrum was busted. But from what I've learned, he actually suffered a slight cut inside the ear, which I've never heard of. I've never, with gloves on, they're heavyweights, so they had 10-ounce gloves on. I don't know how you could cut someone inside their ear, but that was the prognosis, and he had to get anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, 3 to 6 stitches, I should say, to close that cut in his ear. But just, it seemed his equilibrium was off. Speaking of Wilder, he was never able to regain steadiness from that one punch. I think it was the 5th round where a body shot dropped him. And again, 273-pound dude hit me in my body, I'm probably going down. It seemed weird to see Wilder go down from that, but I hearken back to his lost equilibrium. Then after, I think that was the 5th round. By the 6th, I'm kind of looking at my dude like, hey man, this ain't going so well, bro. And like, how much more of this is he willing to take if he doesn't show something soon? 7th round, by the 7th round stoppage, by the time the stoppage happened, literally I had already been screaming at the television I was watching for at least 10 or 15 seconds, like, stop it. Fury had him trapped in the corner, just flurrying on him. Wilder hadn't punched back. And real talk on some boxing shit, he took away Wilder's right hand. Wilder's one chance is his right hand, Thor's hammer from Alabama. Well, Fury was throwing left hooks, and people complained that it looked like slaps. It might have been slaps, but he threw his left hand so much, it made Wilder leery of using his own right hand, which is his Thor's hammer from Alabama. So it got to the point he wasn't even throwing. The one chance he had to come back and reverse fortune, he wasn't even throwing that. And me recognizing that, I'm like, yeah, man, stop the fight, dude. Like, please stop the fight. And eventually, Mark Breland did, which created a whole new set of controversy because apparently Wilder has made it clear to his cornermen, hey, look, don't ever throw the towel in on me. I'm a warrior. I want to die on my shield. Any one of y'all that does this, throw the towel in on me, there'll be consequences. So we'll see what the consequences are. I can kind of tell by the body language and the looks on the faces of Breland and Wilder as they discuss it. I would be shocked if Breland works Wilder's corner ever again. And that's unfortunate because, like I've already said, the stoppage was just. He was getting his ass whipped, dog. He was getting his ass whipped, dude. That's really the only way I can put it.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, Reed, because, as I was watching the fight, and especially the last 3 rounds, to be honest with you. I noticed that the referee was staring at Wilder. The referee wasn't paying attention to Fury. He was staring at Wilder. And especially as we got to that last round, the ref was going to stop the fight. I don't think, whether that towel came or not, the ref was getting to the point where he was going to stop the fight because Wilder was not intelligently defending himself. I mean, it was clear.
The ref has come out, Kenny Bayless is the ref's name. He's come out and said, he didn't say, hey, like, the writers try to pin you down. Well, how many more shots would you have allowed? He's like, look, I ain't going to say all that. I'll just tell you, I was already thinking stopping this shit. He didn't say shit, but, he was already thinking about stopping that shit in his own fucking mind anyway. Here's my thing. Like, Mark Breland, his trainer, he was one of the greatest amateur fighters that ever lived. He, when he went pro, like, Mark Breland had like one fucking amateur lawsuit. Like, if anyone Google Mark Breland amateur record, pretty sure he's got like one loss in like 142 fights or something. He was like awesome. An awesome amateur. Well, in pro boxing, you don't wear headgear. Mark Breland was able to win a world title, but he got knocked out 2 or 3 times that I know of vividly. So Mark Breland has been there, experienced it, dealt with the recovery process, and he's been in Wilder's corner as a co-trainer, which is ridiculous, but that's a whole other topic. He's been with Wilder for several years, since before Deontay won the world title. He cares about him. It wasn't, and then Wilder's like, hey, well, Anthony Durrell was sitting behind me, and I could hear him yelling, stop it, and Durrell is trained by Fury's trainer, Sugar Hill, and they just like, come on, Tay. Come on, Tay. And me and you discussed a lot of this over social media. The fighter's ego, it's easier to take an L in team sports or in a scripted sport like wrestling, but for combat sports dudes, like, yeah, that's an L is directly related to your manhood. And I get it, because I fought long enough to learn I sucked at it. Like, I can't, I'm not built for this. So the dudes who can do it, I get it. But all the excuses that Wilder's coming out with now, it's just him thinking out loud. Because the fact that this guy's just better than me, that would devastate him to just admit that. Like, this guy's just better than me.
Well, and that's the other thing, too. I mean, the excuse that the outfit that Wilder wore to the ring was so heavy that it took his legs out.
It's absurd.
First of all, who told him to wear that in the first place?
That was his call. That
right?
was his call.
Completely had that under control. Did you not put the thing on and walk around with it to see how it would be to wear that?
He acknowledged that he's, in his words, he said, the first time I tried it on was last night. Well, if it was heavy last night, don't fucking wear the shit in the fucking ring in the biggest fight of your career, dude. Like,
man, listen, I feel for the corner man. I really do.
Oh yeah, Mark Breland.
Yeah, I feel for him.
Yeah.
But here's my take on this, Reed, and please, you're the one with the experience, so you can correct me if I'm off base on this. I think Breland was protecting him on a level that goes even beyond his safety. I think that was a situation, this is just my take here, of, well, if the man doesn't actually get knocked out, he can always say, I never got knocked out, and I'll take the blame. I'll shoulder that. It's my fault. I threw in the towel. And he can always have that out and say, no, I could have kept going. And
right. He was on his feet when the fight was stopped, to your point.
Exactly.
Right. He was on his feet.
Exactly. So the corner man's protected him even on a deeper level, where it's like no one has a picture of Wilder knocked out on the ground or something like that, so he can
flat on his back. Right.
You protect the next fight because of that, right? So if you're thinking to the future, it's like this guy is going to continue to say, I got to prove something because I didn't get knocked out. My corner overreacted, and now I got to go in there. People still want to see that, as opposed to if he got knocked clean out, would the next fight be as anticipated as I feel the next fight is going to be, because there wasn't the visual of him getting knocked out.
Right. From Mark Breland, here's what Mark Breland saw. He said, okay, I'm with this guy who's never lost a fucking fight since I've been with him. Every round, each side of his eyes, under his eyes, gets more and more puffy. His bottom lip has been busted since I don't know how long. And he's bleeding out of his left ear. Now, in the moment, it's easy to say in hindsight, oh, it was just a cut inside his ear that took 3 to 6 stitches. His trainer don't know that in the moment. Is his eardrum ruptured? Is his freaking brain bleeding right in front of me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you haven't won a single moment, hardly any moment of the 7 rounds of this fight, dude. Like, he's wiping his ass. Not that you can't beat him ever, but you're not going to beat him today. It was clear. By that point, it was like Deontay's not winning this fight. So I had no problem with the stoppage. I get why Deontay is mad and will probably fire Breland, but I hope Deontay can at least respect and maintain a relationship with Breland, not even a financial one, but just, hey, this man cared enough about me to stop this fight. So, you just check in with him every now and then. I hope it's not some cold turkey, you did this, F you, never want to speak to you again type of deal.
Sure, and that may require time, because for optics, you got to fire him.
Right.
You got to fire him for optics. You machismo and all that other BS. You got to fire him, and you got to play the game of, I'm this is a new me, and we ain't rolling like that. Whatever. I'm disappointed in Wilder, though, just from a general standpoint, because I feel like you don't need to talk about excuses. Just say the better man won. That's it.
Well, like I told you on social media, I don't mind the excuses. Just don't publicize them. Like, I get the fighter mentality. The last thing you want to say is, man, that dude just whooped my ass, man. I don't have no answer for him. But even if you think, oh, it was the outfit, it was the battery pack, it was the helmet that I wore, I paced the locker room too long, Mark Breland threw in the towel. Even if you really believe all that in your hardest of hearts, don't say that to the public, because no one's going to accept that. He wouldn't accept that from an opponent. If he had beat Fury, he would be laughing at Fury for saying all that shit. That's the thing. I'm like, brothers, you got to think, man. You got to think before you speak, or before you speak publicly. You can say this, but say it around people who can help you gather your thoughts and be like, okay, man, you know what's going to happen if you say this, like, right? But now it's too late. So what happens? What happens? You're going to come out the third fight. You're going to have a regular robe on. What if he knocks you out in 3 rounds or 5 or 2 rounds? Like, okay, then what? You know what I'm saying? You got a new trainer. No one throws in the towel. You're not wearing a suit, and you get knocked smooth out like you was talking about. What happens then? Now you have no excuses as a fighter. You're completely done. Not done, but as far as this KO artist, baddest man on the planet, hardest puncher ever, facade that was built, like, I don't know. It's going to be hard to sell that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, speaking of the sell, I mean, that's the next piece of this puzzle here. I've heard from a lot of other folks who, just spitball in fantasy booking, whatever you want to call it. A lot of folks are saying that this was the wrong move to go to Fury and Wilder Part 3. Like, these guys shouldn't have an immediate rematch here on this deal. Instead, Joshua should be involved in the next fight for Fury.
I mean, the people telling you that are correct. Here's the problem. When Wilder Fury 2 was signed, no high-profile fighter, I don't know about MMA, but I can tell you this, unequivocally in boxing, there's not a high-profile fighter in the world who signs for a fight with any opponent without a rematch clause. That's just automatic. So it's like, okay, You beat him in the condition, the money is the money, and the venue is the venue, and the weight is the weight, gloves are the gloves. But okay, if you beat me, I have this many days contractually to let you and your team know I want a rematch with you. And in some cases, they already work out the purse split for the rematch. From what I've heard, the third fight will be 60-40 for Fury. It'll be a 60-40 split in Fury's favor. And if I'm Fury, I'm like, I just knocked this dude out. Like, I just whooped his ass. Okay. I'd rather fight Joshua. Because you're right, Duke. That is the bigger fight. They're both from the UK. But that fight will be there. And honestly, in terms of a threat, I think Joshua's less of a threat to Fury than Wilder is. Wilder's more basic and rudimentary in terms of his skill level, but he does have that equalizer. He's got that one hitter quitter. Joshua can punch okay, but he's already been knocked out, so now he's kind of hesitant and leery. Tyson Fury's the best heavyweight in the world. Let's just put it that way. He's the best heavyweight in the world, clearly.
So wait, let me run that back just to make sure I'm clear. You're saying that the Fury-Joshua fight right now, today, you feel that would potentially drive in more buys, it would make more money as a fight than Fury-Wilder having a part 3?
Well, now we're getting into UK, US. And here's another thing I know. The UK, they go by, the US thrives off of ticket prices. That's why we'll have a fight in Vegas that seats 20,000 people, and yet the UK will have Joshua fight in front of 90,000. But if you talk about the live gate, that Vegas fight would have generated way more money than that UK fight. The UK ticket prices are more affordable, basically, is what I'm telling you. I'm thinking, I know that would change at least for Joshua Fury in Wembley Stadium or O2 Arena. That fight there has to be overseas. And the problem is, will they accommodate us as U.S. boxing fans? I believe they're like 8 hours ahead of us. So we might have to watch Joshua Fury at fucking 2 in the fucking afternoon or some shit, 2 or 3 in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? Or they're gonna fight several hours in the wee hours of the morning, as they call it, to accommodate us. I really don't know how that would work out. It would be more problematic, but as a bigger fight in terms of the division and financially, I would say, because now Fury, he beat Wilder, so he already had the lineal claim. There's no belt to that, but he did beat Klitschko. Then he fell into addiction and all of this shit and got stripped. But no one's beating him. Now he's beating Wilder. He has Wilder's WBC title. And even though Joshua got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, Joshua's got all his belts back. So Fury, Joshua would be for all the heavyweight titles. Undisputed champion. 2 UK dudes. Like, that's going to be, I don't know what the biggest fight UK history is, but I know Joshua Fury would surpass that easily.
So again, you still didn't answer the question, though, Reed. You're ducking and dodging me now, like Tyson Fury now.
I'm a patriotic American, dude. You're asking, is that fight bigger than Fury Wilder 3?
That's what I'm asking.
To me, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I hate to say it. Here's the thing. Joshua got knocked out, but he got knocked out 2 fights ago. And he just beat the guy who knocked him out. So Joshua has had the bounce back. You know what I'm saying? So if plus the way Wilder lost and the way the public is receiving his excuses, Fury's gonna be an overwhelming favorite. Not like some Tyson Douglas 42-1 type shit, but it's gonna be 10-1. 8-1. It's gonna be like The big wig. If I was Fury, I'd make him come over there. I don't even know if he'd make more money over there, but yeah. To answer your question, long story short, yes. Financially, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, undisputed championship of the world. Yes. In fact, Fury's so he's with Top Rank and Bob Arum promotionally, but his actual overseas promoter is a guy named Frank Warren. Frank Warren is considering offering Wilder step-aside money. Look, just let us fight this fight with Joshua. And then, we beat Joshua. Okay, then we'll get you your third fight. That's you're gambling right there. What if he loses to Joshua?
That's a good question, and I wouldn't take that gamble. If I'm Wilder, I don't give a damn about that. I need to run this back.
Wilder's pride is done. Wilder's pride, he needs that. He can't sit on that. He can't.
No.
He'd rather go back in with Fury and get knocked out in 1 or 2 rounds.
Yep.
So then he knows. So it's like, damn, shit, I fucked. Like, damn. He'd rather do that. They could offer him $25 million in step aside money. He'd probably be like, no, I want to fight.
Well, and here's the other thing. I mean, there is no bigger fight for him to fight right now. He's not going to make more money.
Well, that's it for him. Yeah, that's it for him.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, this is it. This is the biggest fight he could ever have at this point as a result of what happened this past Saturday. No two ways about it.
Right.
So that's good stuff. Let me ask you, Reed, and this is a big one here because there's a little bit of a debate going on. Fury won the fight. Fight's over. And now the post-match interview. He breaks out into singing American Pie.
American Pie, right.
Was he somehow, some way taking a shot at the American that he just defeated? Taking a shot at the nation? Or was the man genuinely just singing one of his favorite songs?
No, yeah. And I use these terms loosely, but I mean it, dude. Like, and I don't know if I've ever said this. I think that our conversations about Fury, you can tell I kind of like the guy a little bit. Like, I've always spoken somewhat positive about him, even though I've never picked him to win a fight, which sounds weird to say. But, so when he beat Vladimir Klitschko, he beat Klitschko, he's excited. During his interview, he grabs the mic, he starts singing the Aerosmith song, Don't Wanna Close My Eyes, however it goes. Anyway, he sang that song to his wife in the middle of the ring after he first won the heavyweight title from Vladimir Klitschko. He wore he did the Apollo Creed entrance for one of his, not his last fight, but I think the fight before that. If you Google Tyson Fury, you'll see a picture of him with the Apollo Creed, Uncle Sam hat and the jacket and all that stuff on.
He came out to Living to America with James Brown. Living to America.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was 2 fights ago. It might have been not Otto Berlin, but the fight before that. Anyway, no. And here's the deal. He knew the lyrics to the song, so he wasn't mocking. Tyson Fury, he's gregarious, loquacious, verbose. He's that guy you just can't predict. He's a dude who, after he beat Klitschko and sang to his wife in the middle of the ring, he was like, well, what's next? Then he fell into depression, drug addiction, obesity. My man got like 400 pounds, Duke. And tried to kill himself. Like, this dude, the Irish traveling, the Irish traveler background, in terms of Irish people, they're like the lowest class of Irish people. I'm not Irish, I don't know about that, but that's how they describe themselves. Like, we're like the low class of Irish. Like, Irish people think of us the less. So for him to have this success, he just wanted to be world champion. Then he's world champion, like, wow, I mean, what do I do next? What do I do tomorrow? I'm already world champion. So it freaked him out. He got counseling and, he recovered from that and this and that. And now here he is. I really don't know where he goes, but he's an easy guy to root for. He's a very easy guy to root for.
That's for sure. And you can bet, with WrestleMania around the corner, the first Sunday in April, you can bet Tyson Fury is going to be on that card somehow, some way. He's going to be involved.
He better be, and I think I heard it's like 850 pay-per-view buys for this fight, but yeah, that definitely helps. Damn sure didn't hurt.
Oh no, and there's money to be made there for sure. I'm pretty sure he got $1 million for the last WWE event that he did, so that tells you how lucrative that is. A one-match deal, so to speak.
Right.
Run that back for sure. Before I let you go, Reed, who's going to win? Fury, Wilder 3. How many rounds, and what's the final result going to be? Who's going to win?
This is the good and bad of doing a podcast with you, Duke. Well, only on one podcast did I pick Wilder to defeat Fury. But afterwards, I told you Fury won the fight. On social media, I predicted Wilder. And then Fury knocked him out. So now I'm going to tell you, Fury, he's just better. He's just better than Wilder. And with my luck, Wilder will mess around and beat him. So who knows? But I'm picking Fury. I don't see any way Wilder can beat Tyson Fury based on the 2 fights I've already seen. Like there's been nothing, because you hit him with your best shot, 2 best shots, and he got up and looked at you and won the rest of the round. So, I don't know, dude.
And this will probably go down as one of the biggest tragedies in boxing history. Here you have a situation where a guy could have been probably the most dominant fighter in the history of the game had it not been for this one roadblock. This one unconventional roadblock. I mean, at this point, it's a little different, but it would be like the Buffalo Bills who kept. Remember the Bills kept getting to the Super Bowl and then losing?
Yeah, like 4 straight years.
Yeah, and then just kept losing. And it's just like, well, damn, you're probably the best.
And like lost worse every time, it seemed. Every time they would get there, it was like, it was worse. Like,
you're probably the best team in the league, kicking everybody's butt, no doubt about it. And then you make it to the big time and you keep losing. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Listen, Reed, before we let you go, plug that great podcast you have on YouTube and all that stuff, man.
Check me out on YouTube, Reed BBS. Televisión, Fred Sanford of the Fistic Arts. I also talk mixed martial arts, combat sports in general. And, yeah, that's what I do. And Duke is my boy. You got a problem with Duke, you got a problem with me. So it's like that.
Good stuff. Always a pleasure to have Reed back on the show. The dude knows his stuff. Absolutely understands what it means when we talk about combat sports, the psychology, the business aspect, the whole 9 yards. Reed is my go-to guy for sure because he knows what he's talking about. And listen, I'm gonna admit something here, folks. This is breaking news. I don't believe that Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua is the fight that needs to happen, or it's going to be the biggest fight. I don't believe that. I still think that the Fury Wilder 3 is the fight to happen. But Reed, he's the guy. I gotta go with what he says here. Okay? If Reed says that's the fight, then that's the fight. Joshua and Fury is the bigger fight. And there's a guy who's been on the show before by the name of Gregory Coleman. And I know you're listening, Gregory. You told me that UK fight, that Joshua Fury fight is the way to go. So I'm telling the whole world for the first time in his life, and shout out to Gregory's wife. She has an excellent Instagram. I love it. Always have some great deals to find on her Instagram. But for the first time in Gregory Coleman's life, he actually got something right. And for that, I say I was wrong. Gregory Coleman's right. Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury for the undisputed championship. That will be the biggest fight going if it happens. If it happens. Till then, Fury Wilder is the way to go, baby. That's right. Listen, I want to thank Reed once again for joining us. Shout out to Roy Lucier and also Dave Wills. Great conversation earlier in the show. So I mean, you folks requested this stuff, man, and you were very passionate about it. It's what you wanted. So, hey, you know I'm going to give it to you. That's right, Jack. You know I'm going to give it to you. Join me next week because, you know, I'm going to have another great guest or two. Talk about some good. You know, Goldberg just won the the Universal Championship. He just beat The Fiend. We'll talk more about that next week. That happened in Saudi Arabia. Crazy stuff, man. Goldberg's going to the WrestleMania Universal Champion. Who the hell saw that coming in 2020? I don't know. Until next week, though, be kind to yourselves, be kind to others. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
Mr. Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Wrestling.